We stayed in the Leonardo Hotel in the Haymarket area of Edinburgh, about a 10-minute walk to the castle. And the first stop we were going to make was to Holyrood Palace at the bottom of the mile.
Tell me where you are.
Oh, right, okay. I'm at a cafe.
I'm going to send it to the kids.
Okay, I'm at a cafe.
Right.
At Palace. Just having a bit of lunch before we go in. Now, look, Mum's favourite. A bit of bloody
That
beef.
is disgusting.
That's nice.
I've gone for cheese and pesto.
Nice bottle of beer. Some nice whiskey cake. And a bit of cider for you.
And a bit of sunshine.
And the sun's come out, a little bit windy, but it's warm and it's dry.
But you were surprised when you came to get the tickets because they said we don't have to wear masks inside.
We're just in the shop.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how safe we feel about that. We'll let you know.
We'll have to see.
I have a blue badge, classed as disabled because of my knees. So I was able to get in at a discounted price. And James was then pushing me in the wheelchair when needed. So he was my carer and he got in free of charge. So excellent price for the two of us. Of course, there were stairs we couldn't use, but I did get to use the Queen's lift. So the Palace of Holyrood House is still used today. Our Queen stays here when she's carrying out official engagements. It was also the home to both Mary Queen of Scots and Bonnie Prince Charlie. In the forecourt is an octagonal fountain which was carved in 1859 by Robert Masson. It's got a triple crown and lion heads all the way around.
So the palace that we see today was designed by Sir William Bruce and was built between 1671 and 1678 in the classic style.
Our next stop was the royal kitchens that the Queen still uses today for all her lovely food. And you got to see the plates and all those fancy dishes, all with gold bits on them. And then we needed to go upstairs. Now to get upstairs, I couldn't. So they let me use the Queen's private and personal lift, which was all gold and shiny on the inside. And I had to be escorted the whole time. We had a look around some of the state apartments, such as the King's bedchamber, the royal dining room and the throne room. The throne room is still used today, and the thrones were commissioned by King George V back in 1911. I found out that sometimes the king would actually conduct meetings from his bedchamber himself. People would come to talk to him, and if they were lucky, he might be dressed and sitting in the next room. The largest room at Holyrood is the Great Gallery. There's lots of portraits on the walls, 95 kings and one queen, both real and legendary. The only queen there is Mary Queen of Scots. Today, our queen uses this room for hosting state banquets, and if you look closely, you might see a few of the secret doors that are hidden in the walls. In the centre of the room were lots of glass cases showing different things. We particularly enjoyed looking at the medals and the photos from the Order of the Thistle. At the end of that corridor, we went up some old wooden staircases to Mary Queen of Scots' bedroom. Her bed is protected in a glass case, and around the room are photos of herself, Lord Darnley, her second husband, and her son King James I of England. In Mary's bedroom was a small side room for Mary and her ladies in waiting to have their meals. This was also where Rizzo was eating when Lord Darnley and his friends decided to grab him, throw him down the stairs and stab him. Now that all happened in 1566. However, there is an area where apparently Rizzio landed that has got a big blood stain on it, and people working there saying no matter how much they clean it, they cannot get the blood up. However, it could just be paint. You'd have to see for yourself. In the next room were many more objects from the royal collection, including the 1571 Darnley Jewel. Absolutely stunning. The theory is it was commissioned by his mum for his dad and then passed on down the generations. It's filled with rubies and emeralds and the blue glass. We then saw a lock of her hair in one of the cases, but I queried that to a member of staff because she died aged 44 and she was supposed to be a redhead, but yet the hair in the case looked quite blonde. The helper told us that they believed that she wore a wig, and this in fact is hair from the wig.
Within the grounds is the former Augustinian Holyrood Abbey, now in ruins. It was founded in 1128 at the order of King David I of Scotland.
We'd done one end of the mile, so we went up to the other end to visit Edinburgh Castle. Now, because I've got a blue badge, that again meant I got in at a discounted price, and we were also allowed to park on the esplanade, and James got discount for being carer as well. They also then brought us a private taxi, which took us under the castle, through some tunnels and out to the top, and then I was able to walk down unaided. I really enjoyed having a look round the castle. There was quite a lot of walking up and down, which wasn't good for my knees. But I like to see where Mary Queen of Scots lived for a while, and that's also where she had her son, in one of the little rooms there. They had a big area where they had loads of medals and memorials to people who have died while fighting in Edinburgh. A little bit solemn, but interesting again. The buildings date back literally 300-400 years old, and the oldest part of it was the church up at the top. Because it was COVID times, there was a queue to get in, so we avoided that because I couldn't stand on my feet that long. Fantastic views of Edinburgh. It was lovely that we had a little bit of blue sky as well, even though it was a bit cold. To keep us warm, James always brings his handy little flask with a drop or two of whiskey in. And they had a cafe at the top as well, so we got some soup and some nice fresh bread. We also heard the cannon being fired. I think it's at 1 o'clock every day. Down towards the bottom was a war museum. Again, there was a queue to get in, but only because of COVID times. We have been in there previously. Definitely some interesting things, but we aren't really interested in that kind of thing. So it was a very quick stop. And this time we didn't go in it at all. We just avoided it. And then off we went back down past the esplanade so we could go tour the Royal Mile, have a look at the restaurants and the pubs there.